Alright, so a function. Let's first define what it means to be a function. A function is a relation where x is paired with exactly one y value. So a relation is where x is paired with exactly one y, let's put value here. So what does that mean for us? If I want to tell if something's a function, I need to check one of two things, depending on what I'm looking at. So the first thing I need to check is, are the x values repeating? So to be a function, the x values do not repeat. I can't have the number 5 showing up 2 or 3 times as an x value. I can only have 1 5 as an x value, 1 4 as an x value, 1 3 as an x value. And that's really easy to tell if I'm looking at a table or at a list of points. But sometimes with the graph it looks a little bit different. So with the graph, we want to check to see if it passes the vertical line test. That means if I draw a vertical line, and remember vertical is going up and down, if I draw a vertical line, it only touches my picture one time. If it touches it twice time, that means it's not a function. If it touches it 3 times, it's not a function. So let's look at the first one. I'm looking at a graph, so I'm going to try to use this passes the vertical line test thing. So if I were to draw a vertical line anywhere on this graph, and remember vertical is up and down, anywhere I draw it, I should only be able to make my vertical line go through the picture once. So if I draw my line right here, it only touches my picture once. If I had drawn it over here, it would have only touched my picture once. So that means this is a function. Now let's look at this one. If I drew my vertical line right here, how many times does this vertical line touch the graph? Well, it touches it once right here, and then it touches it once down here. So since it touches, my vertical line touches the picture twice, this is not a function. So let's look at our table. Since I'm looking at a table, I'm going to go back up to this first one where it says the x values do not repeat. So I'm looking at my x values, which is generally this first column, and this would be our y. And I look and I see, did any of these numbers repeat? I don't care about this column. All I care about is this column. And it looks like I have a -2 and a -2. So this, since -2 showed up twice, would be not a function. Let's look at the next one. This is my x column, this is my y column, and I'm looking at these numbers right here. Did any of these numbers right here repeat? Well, I have a -1 and a +1, but those aren't the same numbers, so nothing repeated. So this is a function. It did not matter that my 6 repeated over and over again on the y, because I'm only looking at my x values. I don't care about my y values when I'm trying to decide if it's a function. So let's look at the next one. Now, when I'm looking at points, you have to remember that points are written as x, y, x, y, x, y. So when I'm looking to decide if it's a function, I'm looking at the front numbers. Did any of those numbers repeat? 2, 3, or 4? They didn't repeat, so it is a function. The next one, remember, x, y, x, y, x, y. I'm looking at these front numbers. And I notice that it's only 1s all the way across. So this is not a function because my 1 repeated for each of the points, and it was 1, 7, and then it was 1, 8, and 1, 9. And for it to be a function, 1 can't go to 3 different numbers.